after duly examining same. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like also here to add that in the endeavor to compost green waste, my ministry, with the assistance of the Agence Française de Développement, developed in the year 2021 a solid waste strategy and action plan, which focuses on recycling and resource recovery in the short and medium term, while tapping the energy potential of waste in the long term. In line with this strategy, civic amenity centers, also known as déchetteries, have been constructed in 3 transfer stations to encourage sorting of waste and recycling of certain dry components of waste, such as cotton, paper, metal, plastics, among others. As at date, there are around 50 registered recyclers and exporters of different waste categories registered with my ministry. As regards to the organic part of the waste, resource recovery is being encouraged through composting at 2 levels. At household level, composting is being encouraged using the least technical method through simple compost bins. Moreover, at a larger scale, the composting of green waste from parks and gardens is being promoted through small-scale composting units using anaerobic digestion process. 2 such units of 225 square meters, each with a capacity of processing 3 to 4 tons of green waste on a monthly basis, have been constructed at the SMF premises in Vacqua and the forestry compound in Brado. At national level, my ministry initiated action in year 2021 for the setting up of 2 regional integrated waste processing facilities, each of which comprises a composting unit and a sorting unit of industrial scale. These 2 facilities are expected to receive around 200,000 to 260,000 tons of waste, representing about 40% to 50% of solid waste presently landfill that will be diverted. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the present question, with regard to part A of the question, I am informed that since September 2019 to date, a total of 14,252 compost bins have been allotted to organizations and individuals around the island upon request. The organizations include NGOs, schools, socio-cultural organizations, cooperative societies, environment clubs, welfare associations, as well as government bodies such as National Women's Council, social welfare centers. Mr. Speaker, sir, on only one occasion, my ministry proceeded with the distribution of compost bins, and that was during the inauguration of a small-scale composting unit of green waste at the SMF premises in Vacqua, held on the 13th of November 2023. Individuals residing in the surrounding regions and who made requests to the ministry were invited to come and collect the compost bins. And as I have mentioned, we are planning also to inaugurate a second compost plant at Brado. Mr. Speaker, as regards to part B of the question, I am informed that no compost bin has been returned to my ministry. And I would like also, Mr. Speaker, to give some details. During the period from the 1st of September 2019 to 30th of June 2020, 3,145 bins have been provided. For the 1st of July 2020 to the 30th of June 2021, 7,981 bins provided. 1st of July 2021 to 30th of June 2022, 813 bins provided. 1st of July 2022 to 30th of June 2023, 19. And 1st of July 2023 to 30th of June 2024, 2,294 bins have been provided. This makes a total of 14,252 bins. Mr. Speaker, sir, these bins have been provided island-wide and mainly to schools and educational institutions such as University of Mauritius, Lycée La Bourdonnais, and some primary schools, to NGOs registered with the ministry and NGOs engaged in the protection of the environment, such as Fondation Ressources et Nature, Falcon, Friends of Environment, Association des consommateurs de l'île Maurice, and also Caritas île Maurice. Also to socio-cultural organizations, Paroisse Saint-Thomas, Montroche, Murugan, Malay, Coville, Sangam, Mauritius Telugu Mahasabha, and also in the context of festivals including Kavadi, Mahashivratri, Easter, Ramadan, Venkateshwara et Ganesh Chaturthi. Monsieur le Président, je tiens à souligner ici, c'est suivant la campagne que nous avons faite pour pouvoir produire les composts, nous avons mis à la disposition de pas mal d'organisations socioculturelles des compost bins pour qu'ils puissent faire leur propre compost parce qu'ils génèrent pas mal de green waste pendant les activités socio-religieuses. Also, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have distributed compost bins to ministries, departments, district council, parastatal bodies, such as Ministry of Local Government Disaster Risk Management, Ministry of Industrial Development, SMEs, cooperatives, Police Department, the District Council of Mocha, Food and Agricultural Research Extension Unit, and also to cooperative societies engaged in agricultural activities, such as Le Pré de l'Aube Mixed Farming Cooperative Society Limited, and l'Aude aussi Mixed Farming Cooperatives, la Commission de l'Environnement of Rodrigue, and members of the public upon request during cleaning campaigns.
Oui, j'ai entendu le ministre dire qu'une seule distribution de poubelles à compost a été faite par son ministère en novembre 2023. Peut-il donc dire à la Chambre qui est à l'initiative des distributions de poubelles faites en février 2024 et juin 2024 à Bassin et Parlement, plus précisément dans sa circonscription? Si ce n'est pas le ministère, qui est à l'initiative de ces distributions faites où la photo du ministre a circulé?
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président. Ça permet de répondre à la question et aussi de dissiper tout doute que certains journalistes souhaitent venir de l'avant avec des fausses informations, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le Président, comme je l'ai mentionné, le ministère de l'Environnement reçoit de nombreuses invitations et aussi de demandes de diverses ONG, d'organisations socioculturelles, d'écoles, d'associations de bienfaillance, d'organismes gouvernementaux, non gouvernementaux aussi. Et en tant que ministre de l'Environnement, très souvent, je suis invité en tant que ministre à honorer l'événement et aussi à venir expliquer la politique du gouvernement en termes de protection de l'environnement. Et pendant tous ces événements, nous procédons à la distribution des plantes, expliquer la politique du gouvernement, procéder aussi à la distribution des différents compost bins. Bien sûr, Monsieur le Président, cela peut s'avérer dans ma circonscription, cela peut s'avérer dans d'autres circonscriptions, mais, Monsieur le Président, donc la distribution de bins se fait sur l'initiative de ces différentes organisations.
Sauf que le ministre n'a pas précisé si des distributions ont été faites autre part que dans sa circonscription. Peut-il dire si les poubelles distribuées, qui sont ici des biens de l'État, seront, dans le cadre des élections qui arrivent, inclus dans sa déclaration des dépenses électorales, surtout à l'heure où on parle du financial?
I disallow this question. This is not a supplementary question. Next question.
B517, please. Of order, Standing Order 41. I've heard the honourable member saying malprop towards my colleague, the Minister of Environment.
Honourable member who?
Honourable Joanna Béranger.
So, Honourable Joanna Béranger, if you're really honourable member, withdraw those words and apologize to the House. Don't do that next time, it's not worth.
Même lignée que le ministre, la section 21 du Standing Order, j'ai entendu l'honorable ministre Ramaneux dire à l'adresse de l'honorable Joanna Béranger, mange bon Dieu cacadiab. Il peut retirer?
If there is anything of the sort, yeah.
L'honorable se sent blessé, mais ce n'est pas trop tard, Monsieur le Président.
No, he has.
Bien sûr, I withdraw.
Apologize. Order. No. What is this cross-talking? You have that bad habit of cross-talking. This is Parliament. You are not in a village council. Next question.
I
Honorable
already
Boda.
said, Mr. Speaker, I already said D517.
Monsieur le Président, le salaire minimum national payable à un employé à temps plein a été augmenté à 16 500 roupies par mois. Ce montant comprend la compensation salariale de 1 500 roupies par mois accordée à partir de janvier 2024. Et le gouvernement fournit une aide financière aux employeurs de secteurs spécifiques qui rencontrent des difficultés pour maintenir leur capacité de production, en particulier les PME. Cette aide est accordée pour l'année civile 2024 pour tous les employés à temps plein qui reçoivent un salaire de base mensuel ne dépassant pas 50 000 roupies. Monsieur le Président, la Mauritius Revenue Authority a été chargée de verser cette aide financière à ses employeurs. Pour bénéficier de cette aide financière, un employeur éligible doit en faire la demande auprès de la Mauritius Revenue Authority. L'aide financière mensuelle accordée aux PME par employé percevant le salaire minimum national est décomposée de la façon suivante. Pour une PME qui est une entreprise orientée vers l'exportation, ce montant est de 3 500 roupies. Pour une PME qui est une entreprise manufacturière approvisionnant le marché local, le montant est de 3 500 roupies si sa rentabilité est réduite de plus de 50% ou de 1 750 roupies si sa rentabilité est réduite de plus de 10% mais de moins de 50%. Et enfin, pour les autres PME, ce montant est de 2 500 roupies si sa rentabilité est réduite de plus de 50% ou de 1 250 roupies si sa rentabilité est réduite de plus de 10% mais de moins de 50%. Monsieur le Président, en outre, pour les 3 mois d'avril à juin 2024, le gouvernement, par l'intermédiaire de la MRA, verse aux PME du textile et d'habillement orienté vers l'exportation une aide financière mensuelle supplémentaire de 2 500 roupies pour chaque employé à temps plein qui perçoit le salaire minimum. Monsieur le Président, en ce qui concerne la partie A de la question, je suis informé par la MRA qu'une aide financière a été versée à 3 407 PME. En ce qui concerne la partie B de la question, l'aide financière a été versée pour 22 339 employés percevant le salaire minimum national. Monsieur le Président, en outre, la MRA a jusqu'à présent déboursé un total de 353 millions de roupies à titre d'assistance financière aux PME pour un total de 32 361 employés. Merci.
Concernant la durée de ce scheme, l'honorable ministre a parlé de l'année civile 2024. Est-ce que je peux savoir si le scheme va continuer au-delà de 2024?
Monsieur le Président, en général, nous faisons cette aide par période de 6 mois. À la fin de l'année, il y aura les tripartites pour revoir un peu les compensations et toute autre aide qu'on va apporter au secteur spécifique. Si besoin est, on va continuer, bien sûr, les mesures d'aide aux entreprises.
Mr. Speaker, sir, is the minister aware that many SMEs still have outstanding loans at the DBM, which they can't repay, when it comes to wage assistance, which was supposed to be given during the COVID months?
Oui, Monsieur le Président, nous sommes au courant de certaines difficultés que rencontrent les PME et nous travaillons dessus pour voir comment on va pouvoir les aider pour continuer à travailler et à produire. Merci.
MP Wachit.
B518.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would ask you to bear with me, Mr. Speaker, sir. It's an open question, so it's going to be an open answer, quite lengthy. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Republic of Mauritius is a net food importer, not only for staple food, that is rice and wheat, which are not economically feasible to produce locally, but also for temperate fruits, canned and processed products, and pulses, amongst others. Efforts of my ministry are therefore geared primarily towards the improvement of food security level for commodities that are produced locally. In this regard, various schemes have been introduced at the level of my ministry to improve both production and productivity. These schemes, which are implemented by the different institutions falling under my ministry, namely the Agricultural Services, the Agricultural Marketing Board, the AMB, the Food and Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, the FARI, and the Small Farmers Welfare Fund, not only to provide the necessary incentives and support to planters and farmers, through whom continued production and sustainability will be achieved, but also build the resilience of our agricultural sector to challenges such as climate change and the unpredictability of global markets as a result of external shocks such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the geopolitical situations in various regions worldwide. Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I'm tabling a copy of all the existing incentives being provided to the agricultural sector. With regard to the additional targeted support and relief measures extended to planters as requested by the honourable member, and which I suppose he's referring to, the new incentives. The new incentives to be provided as from the current financial year. These are as follows for the production of food crops. Firstly, a grant of 1 million rupees and concessionary leasing facilities would be provided to support planters for the purchase of fully equipped container farming facilities. This new measure will allow all year-round production as well as increase the production per surface area. The measure is also expected to alleviate challenges faced by planters, such as limited land availability, climate-related disruptions, and resource constraints, thereby fostering a more resilient and innovative agricultural sector in Mauritius. 2, a grower would now benefit grant for 2 sheltered units up to 1 million rupees instead of 1 unit for 500,000 rupees. 3, to alleviate the burden of farmers, the grant comprising 50% of the cost of procuring farm equipment and irrigation system up to a maximum of 250,000 rupees per applicant has been maintained. The mechanization of farming activities would help to alleviate the acute shortage and the use of innovative irrigation system to improve water use efficiency. 4, to cater for the increase in volume of fruits and vegetables transiting at the national wholesale market, an amount of 50 million rupees would be provided for a cold room facility thereat to enable better storage and longer shelf life of produce. 5, with a view to reducing theft of agri-produce at farm level, a new scheme has been introduced whereby a grant of up to 250,000 rupees is offered per applicant to fence their farms and acquire security equipment. 6, to tap into the potential of the apiculture sector and reduce our imports, the one-off grant for fencing purpose under the beekeeping scheme would be increased from 150,000 rupees to 200,000 rupees, and a subsidy of 500 rupees per bee queen would also be provided to beekeepers for up to a maximum of 10 queens. 7, to alleviate the burden of labor shortage, which is a major limiting factor for the optimum performance of farms, the procedures for importation of foreign labor would be made less stringent. Consultations are being made so as to come up with appropriate guidelines for such employment. 8, a grant of up to 225,000 rupees would be provided per farmer for the importation of cows, goats, pigs, and sheep under the Livestock Department scheme to address the lack of breeding animals on the local market. 9, to support the operational efficiency and resilience of farmers at the Britannia Organic Zone, an amount of 10 million rupees has been allocated for critical infrastructure upgrades. This measure aims to stabilize production, improve accessibility, and promote sustainable agricultural practices within the Britannia organic zone, particularly following damages caused after the heavy rains and the passage of Cyclone Belal earlier this year. And 10, planters who are affected by adverse weather conditions would henceforth also be able to benefit from a cash compensation of 3,000 rupees per arpa for a second crop cycle annually. Such an additional support from the government will assist food crop growers to mitigate losses incurred due to non-manageable risk, especially in the context of climate change, which accentuate the frequency and intensity of natural calamities. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the sugar sector, among the additional relief measures to be provided for, first, the minimum guaranteed revenue of sugar planters producing up to 60 tons of sugar has been increased from 27,500 rupees per ton of sugar for financial year 2023-2024 to 30,000 rupees per ton of sugar in the current financial year. This represents a 20% increase over 2 years. 2, the cane replantation revolving fund scheme at the level of the DBM Limited will make arrangement to provide loans to planters for the renewal of cane plantation for their old, low productive ratoons at an annual preferential interest rate of 2.5%. Provision is made for a sum of 500 million rupees at the level of the DBM Limited for the replantation of some 7,000 arpa of cane fields with old ratoon cane, as was the case for the financial year 2023-2024. 3, an amount of 75 million rupees has been earmarked under the cane replantation scheme for individual sugarcane planters. The grant element has been increased from 50,000 rupees to 60,000 rupees per arpa for the replantation of small, medium planters' cane fields. An estimated extent of 1,250 arpa will be covered under the scheme for the current financial year. 4, the fertilizers subsidy scheme, which is estimated to cost some 125 million rupees and involves some 7,000 beneficiary planters, would be implemented. The scheme provides for eligible planters to purchase recommended fertilizers for application to their respective cane fields after the harvest, for which 100% disbursement of funds will be incurred by government upfront through the Mauritius Cane Industry Authority. Only 50% of this amount will be refunded by planters from their sugar proceeds of the forthcoming harvest through the Mauritius Sugar Syndicate. The purpose of this scheme is to ensure that planters are able to apply the required fertilizers on time and thus maintain or increase their productivity and ensure a continuous supply of cane to the mills. And 5th, a provision of 1.14 billion rupees has been made under the National Resilience Fund to remunerate planters for bagasse, trash, and woody biomass sources and implement the biomass framework. This measure will encourage the producers to maximize on the use of bagasse, cane trash, and cultivate other woody biomass on sloping and difficult areas to maximize the production of green, renewable energy and contribute to the national effort to attain the objective of the country to reach its renewable energy mix of 60% and the policy to phase out the use of coal by the timeline of 2030. Mr. Speaker, sir, coming to the tea sector, the additional relief measures to be provided include, first, a provision of an amount of 6 million rupees to continue the road mending scheme for tea cooperatives. 2, furthermore, tea growers who occupy a minimum of 1 arpa of land will now be able to benefit from duty-free facilities on the purchase of a double cab. And 3, the winter allowance for tea growers would also be increased from 2.50 rupees per kg to 4.50 rupees per kg, which represents an increase of 80%. per thing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
So this question has sufficiently been canvassed, and you will go to the press. This question has sufficiently been canvassed. I am not giving you. Honorable Osman Mohammed.
B519.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry had approached the UK authorities in February 2022 on the possibility of providing assistance to Mauritius in the water services sector following high-level discussions between the two governments. The British High Commission has subsequently mobilized the appropriate key international resources to provide short, medium, and long-term solutions to address water intermittency in a sustainable manner, keeping in view the adverse impacts of climate change, the unique challenges faced by small island states, increasing water demands, and the water network efficiency, among others. Thus, in March 2022, two experts in water resource management and infrastructure from the Climate Resilient Infrastructure Development Facility, that is CRIDEF, an official SADC program supported by the United Kingdom's Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, were identified to conduct a scoping mission in Mauritius. The Climate Resilient Infrastructure Development Facility is a demand-driven program that works to deliver sustainable small-scale infrastructure across 12 SADC countries. It focuses on water services, water resource management, and water for livelihoods, fostering sustainable development on the region's water resources and addressing the water, food, and energy nexus. The scoping report resulted in the development of a 5-year water supply and distribution improvement program to be implemented in a phased manner subject to availability of fund. This program outlined steps for Mauritius to build a comprehensive, equitable, and sustainable water infrastructure needs assessment, including project planning preparation for infrastructure rehabilitation, and an implementation program. This program would be important to enhance the island's long-term climate resilience, water security, and quality of life of the residents. Phase 1 comprised the foundational studies that were undertaken from January to March 2023. These studies involve an assessment of surface and groundwater resources, an assessment of the adequacy of primary water distribution infrastructure to service domestic consumer demands. The surface water resources assessment was undertaken using the rainfall runoff and yield modeling approach adopted by SADC, utilizing data from gauging stations across the island. The groundwater assessment was based on water level monitoring data set. At the end of the foundational phase, the Climate Resilient Infrastructure Development Facility recommended the conduct of a full and proper groundwater assessment, a full audit of the surface and groundwater, and assessments of water distribution network on a zone-wise basis, including the non-revenue water component. Mr. Speaker, sir, following the above recommendations of the foundational phase 1, after consultation with stakeholders and based on funding availability, the British authorities have supported my ministry with the implementation of phase 2 of the study in 2 distinct stages, namely, stage 1, a detailed data collection and analysis and pre-feasibility study report to identify and scope projects that will be taken to full feasibility studies, and 2, preparation of a detailed bankable feasibility study report, including associated preliminary designs of the network assessment, groundwater, bulk water metering, and water demand. Phase 2 started in July 2023, and water supply zones north and east were selected as priority zones for the studies. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the course of Phase 2 of the study, the team from the Climate Resilient Infrastructure Development Facility has carried out the following activities in water supply zones north and east. 1. Network analysis and feasibility studies for the bulk trunk distribution network. 2. Detailed water demand assessments. 3. Assessment of disaggregated non-revenue water. 4. Development of a groundwater management strategy. And 5. Identification of raw water augmentation infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the question put by the Honourable Member, I have been informed that the first stage of Phase 2 of the study has identified that several meters were broken and unreliable, and as such, data required to undertake a water balance of flows within the system in selected trunk, mains, and service reservoirs to identify location and levels of losses are inadequate. The report could not make an accurate assessment of the split between commercial and physical losses. Insufficient bulk meter information necessitated the carrying out of field flow and pressure measurement in February 2024 in order to get a clearer picture of physical losses in the bulk distribution system. The team had thus performed meter verification tests of selected bulk meters, fill pipe flow measurements to assess actual non-revenue water, and the relative distribution of losses, as well as pipe hydraulic properties for input into refined network modeling, form part of Stage 2 of Phase 2 of the study. Clamp-on ultrasonic flow meters were installed to test existing meters and assess the losses on the bulk mains between service reservoirs. Visual inspections, observation, and measurement of overflows were carried out on each reservoir where these occur. Measurement of minimum night flows, including zone pressures, were done. An analysis of select consumer metering and billing was also done. The conclusions pointed to the need for urgent metering and for further investigation across the whole network. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that the Climate Resilient Infrastructure Development Facility has recommended some additional works in the water supply zone for a better assessment of this non-revenue water. Some critical defective bulk meters will have to be replaced by the CWA. In addition, the consultants have proposed the fixing of strategic meters which will enable the assessment of total consumption, flow patterns, and night demand. Following the above, a detailed investigation of the distribution system will have to be carried out to determine the flows in the network and therefore the non-revenue water. Action is being taken accordingly by the CWA. Mr. Speaker, sir, the studies have brought to light the need for further detailed field work to fully map out the as-built network in the water supply zone north, and to enable calibration of the analytical model. Based on projected future demands, recommendations of potential network upgrades were presented, and about 35 kilometers of CWA's network has been proposed to be upgraded to meet the projected water demand of 2050. These, however, still require further verification and analysis. My ministry is liaising with the British High Commission for support in the next phases of implementation of the study. In parallel, government is pursuing its investment in pipe replacement programs for an improved efficiency of the water supply network. Moreover, with the support of AFD funding in the context of a budgetary loan support to the tune of euros 200 million, government will be financing during financial year 2024-2025 the installation of a telemetry system and the replacement of some 300 bulk meters. Following the studies carried out by the Climate Resilient Infrastructure Development Facility, it is proposed that my ministry would carry out detailed assessments of the network and the water balance in the remaining water supply zones in order to elaborate a national water supply distribution and improvement plan across the island with a view to addressing water intermittency in a sustainable manner. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, thank you. I note from the answer of the Honourable Minister that the foreign consultants have singled out broken bulk meters as a main issue in assessment of non-revenue water. Can I ask him, therefore, how is the CWA doing for its in-house pipe replacement program, which runs into billions of rupees, when, in fact, it is not possible to detect accurately non-revenue water, meaning water losses in the pipes?
Mr. Speaker, this situation is not everywhere on the network. Like I said, they have identified in 2 different zones, that is in the northern and the eastern zone, that we have problems with regard to metering. So that's why they have recommended that we change those meters and replace them. This is not the case everywhere. So there are places where we are doing pipe replacement works where we can assess the situation with regard to losses, because we have meters which are functioning, but there are places where we have this problem of meters not working. So we are trying at the same time, Mr. Speaker, sir, because we are acting on a lot of fronts with regard to the water sector. Whatever we have to replace meters so that we get valuable information with regard to losses on the network, we will do so, Mr. Speaker.
Question sufficiently canvassed. I now move to Honourable Dulab.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. B520.
Mr. Speaker, sir, at the very outset, I wish to thank the thousands of public officers who turn up on a Sunday to celebrate the United Nations Public Service Day on 23rd June 2024 at the Swami Vivekananda International Convention Center. As a matter of fact, over 7,000 public officers from ministries, departments, parastatal bodies, and local authorities responded to our invitation. I also wish to place on record my appreciation for the presence of the representative of trade unions and federations. I avail myself of this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, sir, to express my gratitude to the Honourable Prime Minister for his distinguished presence at the national function as chief guest. I also like to thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, to grace this event by your esteemed presence. My heartfelt thanks goes to the UN Resident Coordinator, my colleague ministers, MP, and other distinguished guests who attended the event. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I wish to inform the House that in recognition to the instrumental role played by the public officers in all spheres of our life, be it social, economic, and cultural, the United Nations General Assembly designated 23rd June as Public Service Day by adopting Resolution 57 277 on 20 December 2002. In the past, the UN Public Service Day was celebrated every year through the organization of workshops where a limited number of public officers were invited. As per record available at my ministry, for the period 2005 to 2014, the event was celebrated in a manner which unfortunately hardly portrayed the role and importance of the public service and that of the public officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, for the UN Public Service Day 2024, government has taken the bold decision to organize a national function in a grand manner to pay tribute to more than 90,000 public officers for their hard work and dedication, and which commensurate with the key role that they play in shaping a brighter future for our country. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that all the items of the program of the day were performed exclusively by the public officers, namely from my ministry, the Ministry of Art and Cultural Heritage, the Ministry of Education, Tertiary Education, Science and Technology, and Mahatma Gandhi Institute. Hence, it was a program for the public officers by the public officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, contrary to what is being insinuated by the opposition and some section of the press, I can assure the House that there is nothing sinister behind the celebration of the UN Public Service Day, and there is absolutely no political agenda, as it was an event meant exclusively for our public officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, in view of the resounding success and positive feedbacks received from the public officers, trade unions, federations, and associations, as well as other public and private stakeholders, my ministry has decided that henceforth, the UN Public Service Day celebration will now become a recurrent feature. In recognition to the invaluable contribution of the public officers to our people's welfare and well-being, as well as in nation building. I can assure the House, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the celebration for next year's event and beyond will be organized with the same scale. Mr. Speaker, sir, as part B of the question, I wish to inform the House that this year, my ministry organized a national function on Sunday, 23rd June 2024 at Swami Vivekananda International Conference Center, PI, that the theme of this year is fostering innovation amid global challenges, a public sector perspective. Since I took office as Minister of Public Service, Administration and Institutional Reform, I cherish the idea to organize this year's United Nations Public Service Day in a grand scale, as I had the opportunity to have the privilege to witness the instrumental role our public officers play in providing with selfless dedication, citizen-centric services to the population. This event will, as from next year, be a recurrent feature in recognition to the invaluable contribution of our dedicated public officers to the welfare and well-being of the society. Mr. Speaker, sir, the resounding success of this event is testimony to the consideration that this caring government has and the able leadership of our Prime Minister for the well-being and advancement of our public officers in their personal and professional life. As a matter of fact, our public officers were extremely pleased and expressed their deep gratitude to our Prime Minister, as he spent no less than 4 hours among us at the event on Sunday, 23rd June 2024, where he made it a point to meet with them and visited each and every booth where ministries and departments had the opportunity to showcase projects and initiatives that would contribute to progress and well-being of our people. Mr. Speaker, sir, I therefore call upon everyone not to give in to portray a political connotation to this event, as it would be an insult to the thousands of dedicated and honest public officers serving tirelessly and round the clock.
Call Honorable Abbas Mahmoud.
B522.
Mr. Speaker, sir, The health and well-being of public officers are a critical factor in ensuring that they provide citizen-centric services to the population. However, in the face of a challenging and unpredictable environment, several obstacles such as stress at the workplace and alcoholism and other HR-related issues affect public officers, thus impacting on their performance in the delivery of a quality service to the public. In this context, my ministry is dedicated to give the highest consideration for the protection and promotion of welfare and well-being of the public officers. Since I took office as Minister of the Public Service, I have made it a point to listen to the grievances of public officers in general, either individually or through their representatives. During those meetings, the trade union drew my attention to the need for the promotion of mental health and well-being of public officers. Accordingly, I had a meeting with officers of my ministry on 14 November 2023 to discuss on measures to be implemented to address this issue. Following discussion, it was decided to develop a dedicated mobile application which would provide relevant information and services for the benefit of these officers across the public service. On 8 January 2024, I had another meeting with representatives of relevant ministries to finalize the project proposal for the development of the mobile application for our public officers. The mobile application will support public officers in maintaining good health, mental well-being, and addressing alcohol dependence to ensure a safe and sound workplace. The application aimed is to offer various features focused inter alia on mental health education, alcohol addiction seminars and workshops, online and automated booking self-care, and access to professional support services, thus contributing to the well-being and resilience of our public officers. The mobile application will also enable public officers to file a work-related complaint as well as to the avail of special discount from commercial entities. The terms of references and specifications for the projects have been finalized, and my ministry is in the process of launching bid for the retention of service provider to develop the application. Mr. Speaker, sir, the mobile application will also enable employees to share concern about their mental health and alcoholism issues, allowing HR team to address such issue proactively. Public officers can also use a mobile application to seamlessly submit work-related complaints via a customized citizen support portal.
Honorable Amos.
B523.
The Speaker, sir, with regard to the national heritage sites in constituency number 1, Grand River Northwest and Port Louis West, I'm informed by the National Heritage Fund that since 2019 to date, a sum of 8.7 million rupees has been disbursed for the restoration and refurbishment of La Tour Koenig building located in Pointe-aux-Sables. La Tour Koenig building was designated as a National Heritage Site under Section 12 of the National Heritage Fund Act 2003 on the 1st of June 1985. The building was in a derelict state, and from December 2019 to May 2021, the National Heritage Fund carried out a series of rehabilitation and restoration works thereat. The works carried out included inter alia reinforcement of a ring beam, roof slab, establishment of water evacuation mechanisms, supply and fixing of wooden openings and flooring, and embellishment works. Following the restoration works, the building has been converted into an art space where art exhibitions are regularly being organized by the Nelson Mandela Center for African Culture. In addition to the above, cleaning and minor conservation works will shortly be carried out at Donjon Saint-Louis, located on a hill at Grand River Northwest. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm also informed that there are 38 other designated national heritage thereat, including 1 private cemetery, 21 tombs of eminent personalities dating back to the French period, 1 pagoda, 6 monuments, 1 aqueduct, 1 bridge, 1 statue, and 6 buildings. Most of the above-mentioned designated national heritage are either government-owned, privately owned, or are du domaine public. The responsibility for the maintenance thereof rests with their owners, while those which are vested in my ministry are restored and maintained by the National Heritage Fund, subject, of course, to availability of funds. Moreover, as announced in the budget speech 2024-2025 by my colleague Honorable Padeachi, the Canal d'Ayu Aqueduct in constituency number 1 will be restored and rehabilitated in this financial year. I am informed that the National Drainage Authority is currently carrying out a survey on soil erosion and flooding thereafter, work will start. Funds for the rehabilitation will be provided under the Lotu Fund.
Next question.
B524, please.
Sir, the construction of a modern warehouse on a public-private partnership modality for pharmaceutical projects was announced by government as part of the Health Hub at Côte d'Or. In this connection, my ministry entered into a lease agreement with Landscope Limited, which includes 10 acres of land for the warehouse project. In compliance with the BOT Projects Act on 8 April 2022, government approved to the enlistment of a transaction advisor for free build, operate, transfer projects including for the construction of a modern warehouse. KPDC Project Development Consultants Limited is allocated for the design, finance, build, operation, and maintenance of a modern warehouse at Côte d'Or. Mr. Speaker, sir, the deliverables from the transaction advisor over a period of 20 weeks comprise of submission of a report on the examination of KPDC's project structuring report, marketing and submission of draft request for proposal document, submission of final request for proposal document, evaluation, negotiations, and signature of BOT agreement, and development of a BOT agreement management plan, case study, and close-out report. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This project was approved way back in 2021. It has taken so much time for it to materialize. May I know from the Honourable Minister, what are the specific reasons that has caused so much delay, whereby hundreds of millions of rupees have been paid as rental and demurrage fees to cater for pharmaceutical products?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. So the project, the request for proposal was issued on 11th May 2022. Kukuza Project Development Company was appointed as transaction advisor on 16 September 2022. On 28 February 2023, KPDC provided my ministry with an inception report and a draft project structuring report. In its project structuring report, it was that much of space was recommended, that is around 30,000 meters square. However, KPDC winded up and provided my ministry with a notice of termination of contract in May 2023. That's the reason why there is a delay.
Thank you. May I know from the Honourable Minister, from the initial cost of the project, and with that much delay, has the cost gone up, and by how much?
Mr. Speaker, sir, so far what I'm having as, so this one, the project, the amount for over 13,205,000 rupees, excluding VAT, is provided for this one, but for the previous one, the project was I don't have I can table the information. I have no problem in tabling the
Next question, Honorable Ganga Prasad, not here. Honorable 2.
B5 to 6.
Self-help?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. So, at present, 59 patients are undergoing radiotherapy with cobalt-60 and cobalt-60 Equinox, while 31 are on the waiting list at Victoria Hospital. Furthermore, I am informed that 3 patients are receiving brachytherapy treatment weekly. The old radiotherapy machine at Victoria Hospital referred to is a linear accelerator in response to the increasing number of cancer patients and the need for advanced treatment. State-of-the-art machines have been introduced at radiotherapy department of the National Cancer Center, namely one HDR brachytherapy and one CT simulator. Above and beyond, 2 linear accelerators, 3-dimensional, which can each cater for 30 patients daily, have been procured. I'm informed that physicists at the National Cancer Center will submit a safety assessment report to the Radiation Safety and Nuclear Security Authority, which will deliver the necessary license to operate the 2 linear accelerators within 1 week. These modern machines will replace the outdated equipment and offer several significant advantages. For example, the 2 linear accelerators will deliver high doses of radiotherapy, more than 3 times faster than previous machines, minimize exposure to health tissue using multi-leaf collimators with leaf speeds more than twice as fast as the other systems, and enable a new generation of patient-specific treatments. I am further informed that the CT simulator is already functional at National Cancer Center, and the 2 linear accelerators will be functional by end of July 2024. As for the HDR brachytherapy machine, same will be installed within 2 months as per the contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, apart from radiotherapy treatment, can the Honourable Minister inform the House how many patients are undergoing chemotherapy at the NCC?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'm informed that 50 to 70 patients undergo chemotherapy daily at National Cancer Center. That is an average of 300 patients weekly. And in addition, there are different types of cancer treatment in the different hospitals as well. And surgeries are also offered in all the regional hospitals.
The table has been advised that PQ B531, 543, 544, 546, 550, 527, 541, 539, 551, 536, 537 have been withdrawn. Time over.
Motion.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Question that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favour say aye, those against no. Ayes have it.
Statements by ministers.
With your permission, I would like to make a statement to the House with respect to the casting of roof slab and purchase of building materials grant scheme, as this issue was raised during the Committee of Supply held on 18th June 2024. The casting of roof slab and purchase of building materials grant scheme is meant to assist families who already own a plot of land to build their housing unit. The maximum grant payable is as follows: 130,000 rupees for households earning up to 15,000 rupees monthly, a grant of 100,000 rupees for households earning between 15,001 to 20,000 rupees monthly, and a grant of 75,000 rupees for households earning between 20,001 up to 30,000 rupees monthly. Since November 2019 to date, 5,500 families have benefited from this scheme for a total amount of 435.18 million rupees. It is to be noted that in the budget speech 2024-2025, my colleague, the Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Development, has announced an increase in the monthly income ceiling to be eligible from 30,000 rupees monthly to 40,000 rupees monthly. I'm informed by the National Housing Development Company Limited, the NHDC, that in respect of financial year 2023-2024, as at 18th June 2024, 1,012 applications had been received, of which 860 had been favorably considered and an amount of 86.88 million rupees disbursed. 84 applications out of 1,012 were rejected as they did not meet the eligibility criteria. The remaining 68 applications are being processed and disbursement will be effected shortly to the eligible applicants. An amount of 100 million rupees has been provided in budget estimates 2024-2025 for the casting of roof slab and purchase of building materials grant scheme. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Public bills first reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Water Resources Bill number 8 of 2024 be read a first time.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that the Anti-Money Laundering and Combating the Financing of Terrorism and Proliferation Miscellaneous Provisions Bill number 9 of 2024 be read the first time.
Public bills second reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that the Constitution Amendment Bill number 5 of 2024 and the Political Financing Bill number 6 of 2024 be read together a second time as they relate to the same subject matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is with a deep sense of satisfaction that I'm presenting today these two historic bills, through which the government is fulfilling yet another of its major commitments, which it took vis-à-vis